Hi guys, welcome back to BoomX Beauty Beat. Laura here. I don't know if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, but if you have, then you know I'm kind of into brows a little bit. I am a retired makeup artist. I taught makeup for, I don't know, a quarter of a century. And so along the way I learned a few things. Obviously trends are always changing, and today I'm going to talk about eyebrows. Basically, with mature eyebrows, we have a little bit of a different situation, and I want to address our particular needs as mature women. I'm 50 years old, and I, of course, noticed major changes in my eyebrows as I've aged. And, you know, they used to be like monobrow. I'm Italian. They used to be super full, and everybody and their dog tweezed their eyebrows in the 90s, including me, to make them smaller. Now the trend is fluffier, and many of us are left with little to no eyebrows to do that fluffing with. And I wanted to show you how you can fluff them up and do some things to them that are really critical to your whole image, your whole makeup and beauty image. So I've concocted 10 tips for helping you, but also 10 things that I believe are mistakes. If you're doing this, please don't take offense to it. I just think there might be some different things you can try, and I hope you do give these a try. Let me know if any of these, you know, help you out. So let's get started. So as you can see, I have done one of my eyebrows and not done the other. This has got completely nothing on it. But just by looking at the two, you can see the difference that it makes on the eye and on the face. So basically you can see with mature eyes, you know, you get overhang, that starts to happen. And if your eyebrows are laying low and flat, it actually gives the illusion of your eyelid being heavier. And if I see somebody who has this and they have their eyebrows untouched, it's just a miraculous difference if you pay better attention to your brows, how much difference it can make and give you an instant eye lift. So the first mistake I see people make is they just ignore. They ignore their brows, they do all this other stuff to their face, and they just ignore their brows. Whether it's because they don't know how to shape them, they don't know how to deal with them, I don't know. But there are so many talented brow artists out there. You can go and get them shaped to get you started, and then you're off to the races with the next, you know, amount of things I'm going to explain. And if you want to do it yourself, that's okay too. I'm going to do a brow demo for you shortly, but I want to get through this next one, and that is using bad pencils. Some people even use like their eyeliner pencil on their eyebrows. Brows have a different consistency. Brow makeup has a different consistency because you need something that's going to adhere and to stick. And because, you know, we perspire, we have heat here, it doesn't act the same as our eye line. So it's really important to get eyebrow products that are good. I mean, you know, if you grab anything from Anastasia, Beverly Hills, her, you know, thinner eyebrow, the Benefit brow, the new Huda Bomb brow, those are all really good pencils to work with. You might have your own. You can list below for other people what your favorite brow pencil is. You might not use pencil, you might use a powder, you might use a pomade, but whatever you're using, make sure that you're super happy with it, because in the last 10 years they've come out with just amazing brow products. So we don't need to suffer in silence anymore. They are worth the purchase and worth the exploration to find what you like the best. So there's a difference between tweezing your brows and making them thinner and tweezing your brows for all the excess. And just my bit of advice for when you are tweezing and you're trying to figure out, you know, the shape that you want to do, make sure that you clean the areas that are the lowest first, and obviously like the very, very center here. And don't be afraid to go above the brow and clean as well, because sometimes you can get hair that grows all the way up here. And I also want you to ignore your eyebrow shape for the most part. You want to visualize what you want your shape to be, not go with the shape that it is. Because if I was to just like pencil my brow here and straighten it across the way that it's shaped, it's gonna lower my face, lower my eyes. And it's like your clothes. You can dress in clothes that flatter your body, or you can dress in clothes that enhance what's not good. And the ability that you have to reshape your eyebrow is massive. It's major because it totally changes the face. So whatever, you know, you've been putting off with your eyebrows, maybe now we're getting into fall, you can like spend a little bit of time checking out your face shape, maybe comparing it to other things online and seeing where it needs to be corrected. One big mistake that I see a lot is people are down turning their eyebrows really, really low, like, and it sags their eyebrows down to here and it makes their eyes look sad. So making sure that your shape doesn't pull, you can frame it, but you don't want to bring it down too far. And depending on what look I'm going for, I will change that shape. I can bring it out further up, I can bring it out further sideways, and I can make it very sculpted. So play with your shape for sure. The one that drives me the most crazy is when people make their eyebrows too blocky. So it just looks like solid colored, and that is not how our hair works naturally. Our hair is, you know, feathered, and it softens off at the tips and things like that. So that's another thing, is to make sure that you don't just pencil, like draw on your eyebrow. That's going to look like a marker. It's going to look like a hot mess. And in a couple minutes I'll show you exactly how you can avoid the blockiness and what to do if you get it by accident. Using the wrong color. Okay, so depending on too the makeup look that you're going for, if you're going for soft and fresh, you might also change your color a little bit, and I often do. But normally you want your eyebrow color to be a little bit lighter at first than your natural brow color. Don't go darker. You can always darken your eyebrows, but using a softer tone. See, in here I've got a little bit softer color than I do in my hair color, because I don't want my eyebrows to look too harsh, too groucho. You may need to darken your eyebrows. They might be too soft for your face. So using colors that are 1-2 shades darker, and then building upon that as you go without going, you know, too light or too harsh too quickly. You want to just go a couple shades, you know, up from where you are if you've got really bleached blonde eyebrows and you need to darken them out. And a lot of us are getting gray starting in our eyebrows as well, and obviously you can choose. If it's just one wiry gray one, you could pull it out, or you can obviously tint them, dye them, and or you can, you know, just color over them for now, and we're going to be showing you some technique on that shortly. One of the big mistakes I see is people follow their eyebrow shape regardless. No two eyebrows are the same. This eyebrow is way different than this one, especially where it starts right here. And a lot of us get like one saggier eyebrow or saggier eye than the other. And as we age, it gets worse and worse and worse. And so you don't look at your shape. You want to compensate for where your shape is going awry. And you can easily do that with brow makeup. So instead of just going, okay, well, this one's higher and this one's lower, and I'm just going to follow that because that's what they do. You can compensate for that by softening the height of the other one and also bringing up the other. So you're just sort of like a little bit of a shift. So don't follow exactly where your eyebrows go. You determined where you want them to go, because that's what makeup is we are, you know, designing what we want to look like, and eyebrows is a big one. Another big mistake I see is people don't bevel the edge. They let it go, and it's kind of stumpy along here, streaky and stumpy on the edge. And it's important that it comes, you know, to a point. And one of the ways you can do that is by running your thumb over it and then cleaning off the excess product. But not beveling your eyebrows is really important. If you need to, you know, get an angled brush or a detail brush, but you can always wipe it off with a little bit of concealer and a sponge and just wipe off the excess and re-bevel, because it's really, really important to get the edge right and have it come to a nice tip, because it makes it look very polished and professional. If you tend to get oily and moist, sometimes the product you're using, you have to choose very carefully. Some of us do have oilier skin, or we sweat a lot from, you know, having hot flashes and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you some technique to make sure that your eyebrows don't remain moist, because if they're moist, they're going to slide around, and if I have this part of my eyebrow and then this part's all swiped off, it looks terrible. So you need to make sure that you dry them down, and I'll show you how to do that. Another mistake is that you're not using your eyebrows to your advantage to correct spacing issues. A lot of women have really wide set spacing, and some of them have it too close, or their eyes are wide set and they're making their eyebrows really, really wide set, and it's enhancing the wide set portion of their face. And you just want to make sure that you're creating balance. So if somebody's really wide set, you can use the eyebrows to bring them in just a little bit, and it will give the illusion of your eyes not being so wide. Or opposite, too narrow. You make your eyebrows really, really sharp and close together, and it makes the close set issues worse. So anything that your eye shape is doing, your eyebrows are kind of like the muscle that you can flex to fix it. Another mistake I see is you simply don't experiment enough with your shape. Basically, we get stuck in a rut, and we all have done it. I do it all the time. I get stuck and I push myself to try, keep trying new colors, new things, because the minute you start doing the same, pretty soon you're gonna not see the changes in your face. You're not gonna see the potential your face has, and you're also you're gonna stop having fun. So you want to keep experimenting. You know, try a wider brow, try a straighter edge on the end, try different things, different products to see, because we get, like I said, as we get older, we seem to get stuck and we just want to just get it on and do it and go. Use your face as a palette. You're an artist for yourself, and you can create all kinds of things to make, you know, your face and yourself even more interested in you. Those are just 10 mistakes. There's more, but I'm just going to keep it to 10 for today. We could always do more videos in future, but I'm going to jump now into the do's, and then with that I'm going to be applying to the other side, so you guys can kind of see some of the stuff I'm doing and see how it makes a difference. So number one of this list is going to be to comb and flatten the brows. The brows are likely going to be lacking hair, and combing them out and flattening them out using multiple things. You can use like something like Anastasia Brow Freeze. You can use a glycerin soap and water and a spoolie, comb them out. You can use brow wax, you can use brow gel, whatever you're liking, go ahead and use. But start by flattening them out so you can kind of get the most out of the brow that you do have. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm taking this Anastasia Brow Freeze. You can see it's kind of a clear substance, and I'm taking it onto a spoolie, and you guys will see immediately, like when I have a chance to comb this out, whoop, going on this side, already it's making them look fluffier and more youthful. But here's the trick to these products, if you want to really make them work for you, is to seal that down. A great way to seal it is to take a flat stainless steel anything, or even the back of a brush will do, and you want to press down. Don't worry about them sticking straight up right now, that's fine. Press down on the brow. If you need to go back and comb it somewhere is going awry, that's okay. You go right ahead and press it down. Like I said, you can use glycerin soap, you can use ivory soap if you need to. and do this process with them, and it will do the same thing if you don't want to buy products. But you guys can see already, can you see how much more brow I'm getting out of that? You can always take this and sort of figure out where you want your hairs to lie, but brush them up first. Pushing them down is the easy part. Getting them to stay up is the hard part. And just give that a minute or two to dry. You can even use, if you have to, hairspray, for crying out loud. Whatever you got on hand will work. So just by combing them, you can see how much more hair I'm getting out of it. We're gonna kind of do a beginner, intermediate, advanced version, because I know that there's people out there watching that have either no experience doing their eyebrows or varied experience. So I am going to try to satisfy all your needs. So combing them is a must do. You have to comb them out. But you know, we all have a brown eyeshadow. This is just the Juvia's Place Nubian palette. We all have a brown eyeshadow. If you don't have any brow products, you can still do quite a good brow. So I'm going to dip my brush. This is kind of like, this is the brush I used on my other side. It's kind of like flat, but with a little, it's not too pointy, because if it's too pointy, it will look too sharp when we start touching the skin. And you could take a little bit of product. I'm going to get this chocolate color here and tap it into the brush. It's wet, so now I've got a little bit of a paste going. Just going to get a little bit more product. It doesn't have to be real strong in color at first. Start slow. You can always add. Don't worry about where you don't have hair. This little eyeshadow move here, where you're kind of like, you've got kind of a, it's almost a bit see-through, is the right consistency. And then you can see where your eyebrow should start. It should start kind of at the side of your nose, unless you're trying to compensate and bring your eyebrows in. Doesn't matter how much hair you have, you can still manipulate. So just do it by touching the skin underneath the hair. Don't worry about the hairs themselves and painting the hair and all of that. Worry about where you want the structure of the shadow to go. So for me, I'm trying to create a bit of an arch. So I'll show you again. I do this little trick sometimes, as you can just, the outside of your iris, that's sort of where your arch should be. But literally just doing little strokes on the skin underneath the hair. Don't paint the hairs. Paint the skin underneath the hair. And that will give you the structure that you're looking for. Now, if you mess up, you can always take concealer and a Q-tip or whatever and wipe it off. But right now, we're just creating a little shadow underneath. And you can see it's very soft. You might do this, and that might be your basic brow, and at least you've got some brows that are combed out and a little bit of structure. If you want to take it a step further, you could take a little bit of a slightly darker tone if you're trying to create structure. Slightly darker brown, and sorry about the banging, and then you can build a bit more actual brow shape. So I'm building a bit more of an arch here with the darker color, but you don't want to go dark in all of it because it will look blocky. So you need 2 tones of eyebrow color in order to make this work. Okay, so we got that. We're going to jump on to the intermediate. And you can see that's just sort of a soft warming, but it's not as polished as the other side, and I'll show you what I did in order to get the rest of that kind of perfected. Whatever product you're using, you want to do small strokes. There's a lot of brow type pens. They're almost like a felt pen. This side's got a pen on the other side of it. This is the Urban Decay Brow Blade. There's so many products. There's a NYX one. There's all kinds of them out there. You can look. But this is like a little felt tip pen. And what it's good for is just adding faux hairs in there where there isn't any. And now that you've got a little bit of structure built up, while it's, if you make a mistake and while it's wet, you can just wipe it and it'll come off. And basically, you're doing tiny little strokes to build up what looks like little hairs. And as long as it's still wet, if you've got, you know, a problem, if anything comes out not how you want to, you can wipe it off quickly, but once it dries down pretty solid. So this is just adding fluff, and fluffy eyebrows gives the illusion of it being more youthful. So if you can add that fluff, add more brow, it does give a more youthful appearance to the brow. And your personal preference, I mean, obviously important. You might not want eyebrows as strong as mine, that's fine. But you also might want to experiment and see what happens when you do add a little extra structure to your eyebrow. So just a few of those. That's the next tip, is to do little strokes. Don't try to do it all in one fell wipe, like one pencil stroke, just going, that will turn out like a disaster. So if you do use a pencil, consider sealing it at least a little bit with a paste, because when a paste dries, it dries down solid. You can't really move it, and eyebrow pencils slide around according to the heat. So consider adding that step where you have a little bit of eyebrow paste, and that will make sure that your eyebrows that you did do aren't going to move. Using a micro pencil like the one from Huda Brow Balm will definitely help you to recreate your shape. So look at your shape, see if you love it. Look at someone else's eyebrows that you do love and see if you can get it closer to a shape that you are happier with, other than just following your own shape. Because if you've gone in and tweezed your brows into shape that you don't want, you can always recreate. And this pencil is really good. The only thing I don't like about it is you go through it really quickly. So I like to use it as an accent now, because I just find that these micro brows don't have a lot of product in them, but they're really good for refining stuff that you maybe can't get with other things and it's driving you crazy. This Balm Brow you're gonna love. I mean, if you love it so much you want to use it for your whole eyebrow, that's okay too. You just have to make sure, so I didn't put this one on that side, I'll add a little. You want to make sure that the eyebrows are how you like them to look and that they're helping your eyes. And this is just a great little tool because it's so tiny and fine. You can make hair like feather strokes with it, and that gives it a really natural fluffy appearance and fabulous. If you completely don't have a clue how to structure your eyebrows, you guys have seen me do this before, but I'll do it again just for the sake of this video, is to use a straight edge of some sort to help you to guide. So if you put your eyebrow up against a straight edge and then the edge of your nose, it kind of should start there. It should end-ish like that, using a straight edge. When you're looking forward, your arch should come right at the edge of your iris when you're looking straight ahead. And your brows in general, I mean, you should kind of get a feel for how straight they are across. They should kind of go straight across that way. So, woo, hot flash. So definitely take a look at your current structure and use a straight edge to see. And one trick that I do, and this is going to mess up my eyebrows a little bit, is I love using this for a marker. And I'll take a pencil and I'll just nick it here. So I have a nick it here, and then nick it here. So it kind of like gives you an outline as to where to put it when you're trying to figure out what the structure is going to be. I need a fan for my hot flash. Don't give up on the brows. They change the face. Work on them. I promise you will be so excited about the changes in your look if you work on these brows. When you're choosing products to use on your face, say you've got a 5-minute face to do, is prioritize your brows. And if you prioritize these 5 things, you're going to have a better makeup. So prioritize brows, bronzer, blush, lashes, and some lips. And that will give you structure, 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 color, and structure, both. And if you don't want to do eyeshadow and all that, that's fine. But don't do eyelashes, leave your eyebrows out, do a bunch of eyeshadow, because as you saw with my eye look, it doesn't benefit to do a bunch of eyeshadows if you haven't done anything with your brows. So my suggestion is to pay really good attention to those even before eyeshadow. So eyebrows, you know, lashes also really lift the face, so making sure your eyes are lifted. And if you need to put a couple of individual lashes to flare them out, like what I've done today to lift your eye, that's really easy to do, and I'll show you that in another video. But that's a excellent way just to do a quick 1-2, mascara, brow, blush, bronzer, lips, go. That's a quickie one. Lastly, if you need to, make sure you've got these little guys around, especially the ones with the point, because they're very helpful on details and things like that to help you clean up. If you find that one of your eyebrows is way heavier than the other, I suspect, I haven't really looked closely at my eyebrows, but I might have one side a little bit darker. It doesn't matter. What you can do if you're unhappy with your brow is just to wet this a little bit. You can even put a little eye makeup remover on it. Rub it inside the hair, the skin, comb it back out, conceal the edge, and reapply. Because if you get a bunch of muck in your eyebrows, especially when you get a yucky, waxy brow pencil, it will just look like a hot mess, frustrate you, and you'll not want to do it. So make sure that you've got a fix-it plan if things go awry, and that is what I suggest doing, is rubbing that inside. A little bit of water also can do it, and then brushing them through. Make sure you've got the tools that you need. So spoolie, brushes with an angled edge might be helpful, and then having also a little bit thicker brushes like this to help you to do powder. And yes, if you have any questions, you guys can DM me on my Instagram and I can help, or comment below. My Instagram is boomxbeautybeat. I'll put it below. And yeah, get your brow game on. It makes all the difference. Love you guys, and I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.